Amazing. Hi, everyone. Christina Block is here, and this is Soul Talk with Mindful Models. We created this project to bring mindfulness and awareness into the fashion, modeling, and entertainment industries through a holistic approach to well-being. And for the last already 3 months, we have been having interviews with amazing, inspiring people from the industry. And today, our guest is Raquel Rocky Natalicchio.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I got it right. Hi, Raquel. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so grateful and excited to be here and talk to you.
Wonderful. And you are in LA right now, yeah?
Yes, in downtown LA.
In downtown. Beautiful. I'm in Venice. I had a beautiful ride surrounded by nature. Like, oh my God, it feels so good to be in LA. Every time I come to LA, it feels so good.
We are so lucky with
Yeah,
our weather. Yeah.
yeah. All right, well, let's dive deep into your beautiful life story and find out more about you. Um, I think I'm going to touch a little bit upon your biography and then I'll ask you a few questions.
Sounds great.
Yeah, so Raquel is an international photojournalist, a teaching artist, and motivational speaker who currently resides in Los Angeles. We found that out. And uh, she strives to bring a uniquely creative and positive light into social photography and artistic activism that will give hope and inspire people. She is also She organized a few art exhibitions in Los Angeles, New York, and Miami. Um, and inspired from her passion for education, Raquel has become a teaching artist, developing a photography curriculum centered on self-love that she's teaching teen girls, ranging from 13 to 18 through after-school programs such as Las Faras Project and Ruckus Roots in Los Angeles. That sounds so amazing, and I want to know more about everything that I just read. But maybe we can just start with the very beginning. When did this journey to photography start for you?
Well, serendipitously enough, my journey started with going to a class with a friend who was very into photography. I had just slept over her house and I went to the class with her and immediately fell in love. And I took a class in community college doing film photography, and that just blasted off. And I got a camera at Sammy's Camera that I financed as my first like big purchase. I was like, I don't know, like 18, I want to say. And the streets were my classroom. I was out shooting every single day, like all day, everywhere, climbing everything, like just in a complete obsessive, passionate whirlwind. And then I went to New York Film Academy to really kind of hone in more technical skill. And I knew that I wanted to tell a story, and visually was my medium at the moment. And I fell in love with the storytelling, and I fell in love with paying attention to everything around you every single day and being so surprised and falling in love with every day and all the little moments of every day. So it was very inspiring, and now a source of inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And what inspired you to do street and social photography specifically?
Well, I fell in love with the aspect of street photography because I realized that we're surrounded by magic everywhere, every day, every turn of a corner, every glance. There's something happening. There's a conversation between all the things existing in our environment and us that's happening. And I really wanted to bring a positive message into photography, because oftentimes I think we are shown a lot of the things that are very hard to swallow, and it's important to see these things, but it's also important to inspire people to see beauty and to feel hopeful and inspired by their surroundings, and not only seeing, the trash on the street, but maybe looking up and seeing the beautiful sunset that will never be ever the same except for that day. So just bringing a balance into social photography was it was helpful for me in my own personal life, and I was hoping it would be hopeful and inspiring for others as well.
Yeah. Have you ever worked in fashion?
I have dabbled in some editorial because I do think it's fun to kind of create these worlds with clothing, and it's very like creating a dream in a sense. So
Yeah.
that's exciting for me too, because it's a challenge. It's not something I do often, but I like a challenge, and I like kind of you know interpreting clothing into an image, into a story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's definitely two different worlds. And yeah, yeah, it's like capturing what's present on the streets and creating a completely like creating a story from zero and involving so many different people, because like creating a fashion editorial photo shoot is just there's a big team behind it always. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's always all storytelling.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
matter what it is, if it's social, if it's documentary, if it's fashion, you're telling a story. You're wanting to communicate something with your viewer, and that's the most important part. Is if your viewer feels something, they'll remember. People remember what they feel, not necessarily just what they see, because we're just overloaded with imagery every day. But if you made them think about something personal, or you connected with them that made them feel something, then it's all storytelling at the end of the day.
So what story are you telling?
World peace. I mean, I'm telling the story of us looking up out of the muck, and what are we doing to get out of it, and what is already happening around us that is getting us out of it. And
Mm,
it's a story of just best case scenario and positive thinking, and not blindly, but motivating yourself and letting positive thinking be your superpower, and really pushing through this lesson that we're all kind of experiencing right now.
I love that. I fully support you, and I think we resonate in that storytelling for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to keep people inspired and hopeful. I mean, if there's hope in any community, there's peace. There's a hope for peace.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for telling that positive stories and inspiring people.
Thank you for
Do
hearing.
you have a favorite street artist?
Oh man, this is a hard question.
You can name a few.
That's a nervous question for me. I know so many. Oh man, a favorite street artist. I have a top 10, which I just
Okay.
wrote a book on called Spray for Peace. Um,
Oh, they're all in your book, yeah?
they are all in my book. I've met so many incredible street artists in the past couple of years, and what made me write the book essentially is that they were all saying the same thing, but using completely different imagery and storytelling to say that thing. And the thing was, if you're in a position to be putting street art out on the streets, and, or drawing on the streets or something out publicly, say something. Say
Mhm.
something either for your community or by your community, but say something that is propelling people to feel inspired, and is propelling people to feel a sense of community. And you really have a task to, as a street artist, to decorate the environment, but not even just to decorate, but to really shape and shift the environment that everybody in that community, or new people in the community, walk by and see. and you're in a position of inspiring people just by going down to walk to the liquor store or going to the grocery store. I was photo documenting the UTI wall on Santa Fe and Olympic in downtown, and this woman at the bus stop turned to me as I was shooting and said, "Do you know these street artists?" And I was like, "I know some of them, yeah." And she goes, "I've been coming to this bus stop for 10 years, and I've always felt uncomfortable and kind of unsafe, and this place has always kind of looked, there was a lot of tags, and just like it didn't make her feel good." And then they created this mural, UTI created this mural, and she said all of a sudden it transformed her experience of waiting for the bus. And now she feels safe, and there's something beautiful to look at. And you can really transform people's lives just with art.
Yeah. But I think deep down in street art, there are some pretty profound social issues and problems that are reflected through the art. Like, could you name one of, like, a few of them? Like, what artists are trying to say through their art? Like, what they, of course, like it's inspiration, but it's also like they bringing attention to some issues and social problems that exist.
Absolutely. I several artists, but I mean one a couple artists I've worked with. Like first off, Cache, Cache. He draws really beautiful, colorful chickens and like cartoon chickens all over LA, really all over LA. And for one of the reasons is to bring color into his communities that are kind of into the communities that are run down and not really cared for by the city. And he's bringing color and positivity and kind of a playfulness into that community. But he also draws the chickens for a very specific reason, which is he seeing us as these chickens that are cooped up. And he draws them of all different colors to kind of show that we all really are in it together. No
Mm-hmm.
matter what color you are, no matter what kind of chicken you are, you're in this, we're all in this together. And it's such a playful way to talk about something that is very hard to talk about, which is racism and which is separation amongst class
Mm-hmm.
and about, cities just kind of being torn down and not looking so hot. Another artist is Ace, Aise, and he creates these just amazing mandalas by hand with like a brush, like one brush, and they're like 10 feet, 20 feet sometimes. And his thing is, let me show something that can bring a peace of mind. He's done a lot of studying of mandalas and just what they bring to the mind, like that repetitiousness
Yeah.
brings a kind of meditative state and a peace to the mind. And he does them all over kind of bad neighborhoods and some good neighborhoods, but they're painting in the neighborhoods that need these kinds of messages and are needing to hear that there's somebody willing to go out and say them. And so he's bringing some kind of meditational, mindful practice into a community that otherwise is not really given that opportunity. And just, man, there's just so many artists that are all, Blacklight King, he goes in straight out, did a mural for Standing Rock. Like he goes in straight out, just says the thing and makes a whole mural out of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So these artists they're activists as well. They are the voice of their communities and they're touching on everything, racism, all the things, but the main ones I really feel like are poverty, bad health, that is not, they're not given good health options in a lot of bad communities. Just, man, I mean, what's going on with the police brutality and what's going on with Standing Rock. And I mean, all the issues that we're all hearing about, they're going out and they're saying and they're showing with their art what they have to say, what they're thinking.
And do they specifically choose those areas and where those communities live?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think a lot of the times they do. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's who they're speaking for and from. They do get all around. I mean, they even travel and pay. Cache and I went to Mexico to see how a town was gentrifying itself by using street art in order to have a say in how that town gets gentrified. because it was going to happen regardless. They were either going to tear the city or that little town down to build the mall, or they were going to shape themselves up. And graffiti is the number one thing that gets a place to kind of look like it's becoming a hip kind of place. So street artists gathered and they just took over the town and made murals for 2 days straight. So it's definitely a tool
Mm-hmm.
for people, even for gentrification.
Yeah.
It can be a tool, not always, but it can be a tool.
It's amazing. I really, really admire street artists
Me
and
too.
art in general. It's just it's a really beautiful way to connect and feel inspired and express yourself creatively. Yeah.
And to give you a little piece of, my world or that person's world, you get to see what these people's worlds and what they're passionate about looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's individuality that connects people. And that's the kind of individuality we need, is the kind that brings us closer.
Mm-hmm. Do you paint yourself?
Not like that. These guys are professionals. But I love to paint as a meditative practice for myself. I really enjoy it. It's very therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You mostly like you capture them and their artwork. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I do writing as well as my photography. It tends to get me more work if you can do both. And it's wonderful to not only show the story, but to really give all those little details within the writing as well. And, really it makes you be very authentic when you're writing a story, for me at least,
Mm-hmm.
because words are they're as powerful as imagery. So I really enjoy talking to them and interviewing them. Interviewing is one of my favorite things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a conversation. You're just getting to know somebody,
Yeah.
and you really get a scope of, who are these people that are like, I see these murals all over the place every day, but who is the person that's painting them and why? What's driving them? What is, and the same with all my stories. I want to know the whys behind why things are being done.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to know what people's intentions are. Intention is magic at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Um, and could you share a little bit more of what you teach to teen girls? What what does that program include?
So I started being a teaching artist with Las Fotos project, which is over here in East LA, Lincoln Heights area. And essentially I built a curriculum that teaches photography and the basics of photography through self-love. So we work a lot on self-portraits, and I incorporated street art into that practice. We made a mural at the end of the project that had all of their portraits and affirmations that they made up themselves for themselves and for others. And we also practiced shooting each other. So not only loving ourselves, but loving ourselves enough to be able to be seen by others. And I thought it was so important with other girls. It was an entire girl class ranging from ages 13 to 18. So it was a huge range. And it was just it was inspiring for me. I mean, I was teaching things that I was like, oh yeah, I need to remember to follow those things. Like something as simple as I don't need makeup, or I don't need to buy this thing because I'm told that that's what's cool. Like, what do I like? And the authenticity brought by these girls, like they were just so themselves, like during the process of really showing who they were. We photographed their bedrooms, to see who a teenager's bedroom is essentially the outwardly expression of themselves. So we photographed their bedrooms, them in their bedroom with their hobbies, and then they're learning to share things about themselves that are very personal and finding strength in that vulnerability with other women. And so they're learning to trust each other as women and to empower each other as women by saying, yeah, that photo rocked, or, you look beautiful in that photo. And it's a photo that maybe they wouldn't have chosen when we were going through all of their photos because they felt, some kind of self-doubt with that, and having other women encourage them really gave them power to speak up about loving themselves and others around them and other women, which is, a huge deal right now with women becoming each other's spark versus like, oh, look at her or look at her. It's more like, yeah, you're doing awesome stuff. I want to be your friend.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm also bringing that message through Mindful Models project, where it's not about competition and comparison. It's about how can we come together to support each other and elevate each other, inspire each other, and see each other and allow to be seen. Wow, now I have like so many different ideas running through my head. Like I definitely want to drop in about them, and maybe we can collaborate and co-create something beautiful together, where like bringing that education to the modeling communities, so that
Education is the
it
key.
could benefit them to um, to navigate that industry from a very authentic place, because it's so easy to get lost there. And one of the ways I'm doing it right now is bringing conscious movement and self-development practices to help models to really see themselves for who they truly are, and then bring that beauty from inside and allow that to be captured by a photographer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did with these girls is
Hmm.
not only look for the inner beauty in your friend, but also as that person shine from within outwardly.
Hmm.
Let that be the glow,
Hmm.
not the highlighter that you bought at the CVS.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, and these girls, I mean, they're 13, they're going through like
Yeah.
all sorts of self-discovery and self-doubt and who am I and what am I and this boy likes me, this boy doesn't like me. But as soon as they surprised me, this next generation is really trying to be authentic, I find. And I think that they get a lot of bad rep because of social media and stuff like that. But there are some kids that are really serious about making a difference and really serious about being authentic with themselves and really working hard to make a difference. And that's out there, and it's important for us to know that there are people and kids that are willing to do the work.
Yeah. And through our work, it's really important for us to to pass that education to them, so that like a new generation um, can create peace on earth. I mean, like we all together doing that. Yeah.
I mean, I was the teacher, but I was also a student, because the things I was teaching them, I was being inspired by them as much as, that class was inspiring them. Um, at the end of the day, when I look at them and when I look at a lot of the people I've worked with, world peace isn't like some future thing that we're hoping to attain, this utopian place. I think world peace is just being yourself, being at peace with who you are and being you and knowing that you're being seen for you and loved for you. That kind of peace is what brings about world peace, because when you really truly feel good about you, you will do the things that make you feel good authentically and sincerely. And world peace is no more than you. And it's happening. If you're being you and you're loving you, then world peace is here. It's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. So
We just got to keep that up and show other people it's okay.
yeah. It's I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, it always starts with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
But
self-love is a very important topic.
yeah. Uh, Everyone who is watching us right now, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And Raquel, maybe if there's any comments that you see, you can read them. Yeah. Ah, Okay, so we talked about the. Is there anything else that we should know about the book that you published, the Spray for Peace?
Well, what it is in short is 10 graffiti artists, pretty legendary graffiti artists of Los Angeles, message to the next generation of artists, specifically street artists, but them really encouraging people to say something valuable and inspirational. And it follows their stories as to how they started and, you know, kind of some of the adventures that they've traversed and where they are today and what their message is, like a piece of advice for the next generation. And it has amazing photos, not because I took them, but because they were, you know, letting me really into their world and allowing me to be with them painting day in and day out for nearly a year. So it's some pretty invaluable advice that they're giving. And you can find the book on my website, which
Mhm.
I'll post in the comments, which is just my name.com.
Wonderful. And what are your highest visions for for the fashion and entertainment industries?
My highest vision for the future of the entertainment and fashion industry, I would say authenticity. I
Mhm.
would say that I hope, or, you know, that it is going to go into a place of being mindful and authentic and showing us through fashion and entertainment, which is both forms of self expression and art, humanity as a real whole, not just the chosen selection of what it should be, but
Mhm.
to really show both through storytelling of entertainment and through the fashion, which is, you know, our self expression of let me show you who I am upon approach with my clothes, or let me just have fun with these clothes because I like to have fun, or just to really be authentic and to allow people to express themselves and to not have such a high standard or specific standard, you know, to kind of just loosen up and really
Mhm.
look at humanity as a whole and how can it be a contribution to making this place a better, this earthship that we're all on, a better place to be in. You know, entertainment is something we all seek. You know, we all work hard and we deal with a lot as humans, being so many of us, and we want to be entertained and we want to let loose. And I think that the entertainment industry is shifting. But let's shift what we want to be entertained by in the entertainment making things that benefit us at the end of the day. You know, through fun and entertainment and through beautiful fashion. But how is within this mastery serving? How are we serving back? How is it propelling change? How is it creating something that is making us better as a society and as beings on this planet?
Aho.
Oh,
Ah, and so it is. Wow.
here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are people like you and people like me that are working to make that happen. It's already happening.
It's already happening. Yeah. Yeah. In so many different ways and in so many different communities and industries. It's happening everywhere and it's
And I
really
think a big portion of the success of it is within these clusters, within all these beautiful little clusters that everyone is trying to, you know, do their best. Bridging together is really like, how can I not be just of the fashion and entertainment, but how can the fashion and entertainment connect with another community, like the science community? How can we make our clothing more sustainable? Or how can we start bridging together all these little clusters to make one big, solid change that is all working together and propelling each other? Like to not be a separate industry. How are all the industries webbed together and making this thing go and propel faster and better?
yes. I totally support you and agree in that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raquel. It was such a pleasure to talk to you, and
Thank
I
you so
feel I feel really inspired right now. And it gave me some little notes like what I want to touch upon tomorrow at our event. If you're in LA, we are having our first event called Reclaiming Authentic Beauty, and it's going to take place in Venice from 7 to 11 p.m. Raquel will be there capturing the whole experience, and we'll have a panel with some inspiring super powerhouse women from different industries, and we'll have a conscious movement and sound healing, and we'll find deeper ways how to connect with each other and bridging and bringing together different communities. Yeah, so if you're around, come by. We will be happy to see you there. And so much appreciation to you, Raquel, for everything that you do through your art and through your work. Keep inspiring people. And thank you for being a part of Soul Talk.
Thank you very much for having me and for giving me a platform to keep doing what I love. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. If you have any questions, yeah, Raquel, you can share a link to your website and everything that you are creating. Please leave a comment below this interview. And yeah, and I'll see you tomorrow.
You tomorrow, love. Thank you for everybody who came to watch and for who will watch later.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Bye.